Hello everyone, this is Crypto Origins. Before we begin, please like and subscribe and click on the notification bell. Today we're going to talk about crypto scams and is cryptocurrency facilitating crime? Is crypto really facilitating crime, and what type of crime is it? Okay, let's check it out. Is it really facilitating crime? Because there's always this talk about cryptocurrencies bringing about all this crime, right? And it's only for criminals, it's only for drug dealers. So let's see. Throughout time, we've had many different technologies, and as these technologies have been created, people have always been concerned that these technologies would bring about crime. Before we go into the actual types of crime that crypto brings, let's see what we thought about other technologies when they came out. When the printing press came out, people thought that it was going to be used for passing along bad information. Dangerous people, extremists were going to start sending out information, and was going to create, revolutions and things like that. We're afraid of that information. Then we had also radios, actually radios in cars. Well, people thought it was going to be super dangerous, and that people were going to start being distracted. Of course, same thing when we talk about cell phones right now, but also that we're going to fall asleep while at the wheel. So there was an attempt in several jurisdictions to ban car radios. Another technology was a telephone. When the telephone came out, there was an increase in telephone extortions, kidnappings. You could kidnap someone, and now you could call over the phone and ask for a ransom. You could threaten people over the phone. You can impersonate someone, and this facilitated scams. To this day, these scams are being done. Right? Somebody calls you. They say that a relative of yours is in danger, and you need to send them money. So it was used for crime. And then we have as well, when the VCR, the government and several entities actually tried to ban VCRs, and they were very, very hard on VCRs. They wanted to ban them because you're recording, and tapes as well. You're recording music and you're recording film, and you're infringing on copyrights. Now imagine we didn't have VCRs. What would happen with they wanted to ban blank tapes, so you wouldn't be able to have nowadays cameras. But whatever. But that was considered crime, and that this technology, you see, we always find resistance when new technology comes along. Well, then the internet was invented, and what happens when the internet comes? More crime. The internet is bad. It brings about these Nigerian scammers, right? The Nigerian prince type of scam, and all these sort of internet scams where you have spoofing websites that are trying to steal the information from your bank account. You have impersonators as well. Basically the same thing that we had with the telephone, but now it's increased with the use of the internet. So, should we ban the internet? Right? Because we want to ban crypto. People want to ban crypto, but why don't we ban the internet and the telephone? Because all these things bring crime. This crime is bad. Well, another thing that they wanted to ban was the MP3 player. MP3 player promotes, people infringing on copyrights. Now, remember, if we did not have the iPod brought us the smartphone. If we did not have the iPod, we would never have smartphones today. Okay, so crime. Beware of these people that are always talking about crime. They're, again, like the video we said last time, they're reluctant to change, right? There's a resistance to changing, and we need to understand what it is that is the real cause of crime. What is it? Is it the technology that's causing crime, or is it the people, right? Now, another thing was cryptography. Cryptography was attempted to be banned outright. We use cryptography for everything, for logging into your bank, for sending certain information. WhatsApp uses cryptography end to end. We use cryptography for everything nowadays. And VPNs, which, by the way, have been banned by Russia. They don't want private communication, right? So that's another thing. So now let's think about it. Does crypto really bring about crime? What do you think? Well, let me propose this. I would say, people say that crime comes because of the anonymity of crypto. But I would say no, that what we're simply doing is that we're going back a few years in time, when in reality, uh, we've always had private transactions, right? Up until a few years back, a couple of decades back, all our transactions were private. You would give someone cash and or exchange something in barter, and then you would get something in return. And that the lack of privacy is actually the crime that is being committed. Ever since the telephone was created, the government has been spying on communications, right? So I think that is the crime. So now, no, we simply are going a few years back in time, right? So crypto's anonymity, if there was such an anonymity, because we want that anonymity, right? Crypto transactions are actually not anonymous in most of the blockchains. But we do have an example of Cardano Midnight, right? Cardano Midnight is designing a system where you can have privacy enabled blockchain. As you can read here, Midnight will be a data protection based or privacy based blockchain that safeguards sensitive commercial and personal data, protecting fundamental freedoms of association, commerce, and expression for developers, companies, and individuals, with the option of you revealing that data to whoever you want to reveal it to. So if the government is auditing you and they say, hey, can you show us these transactions? Can you show us this, show us that? You could reveal certain information of the transaction to whoever actually needs it, right? So we are doing it within the means or within the bounds of lawfulness. And privacy is optional, and you reveal the real information to whoever you want. And if you don't want to, you don't. Okay, the lack of privacy is actually the dangerous thing. So what does crypto do? Crypto actually, instead of promoting crime, actually helps us solve crime, helps us uncover crime that is currently being committed. Because governments right now are printing money. And for people that don't know what's going on, they're effectively stealing money. So crypto keeps governments accountable. This is the graph of the Bitcoin that will be in circulation, graph of total circulation from its inception till now. And as we can see, the circulation of Bitcoin is controlled. And it is not under the uncontrolled printing or illegal printing of the government, right? Because you could argue that governments are not really representative of the people and they're just printing. So that it controls government crime or government from committing crime behind our backs. Also, there could be monetary printing that happens and is not disclosed in many countries, right? A cryptocurrency keeps checks on all that. It keeps politicians transparent. You could have the same thing that we mentioned earlier, right? You could force every politician that's in office to have all their accounts on a Cardano blockchain, right? With their privacy features disabled, so as to be transparent as to what money comes in and out. It would facilitate any sort of audit to politicians. Not only that, look at this program. It keeps voting fair. So this is one project, the Cardano Ballot. Voting systems, decentralized voting systems would keep voting extremely transparent. You could see who voted. You couldn't see who they voted for, but you could see who voted and, not have dead people voting and things like that. Okay, it eliminates price manipulation. Crypto actually helps. With decentralized finance, you could have every stock that is currently being traded in the stock market, every commodity currently being traded in the futures market, be traded on DeFi. And that currently is happening. You have a lot of securities that are being traded currently, not public securities, but many securities are being traded right now in DeFi. And that keeps price manipulation at bay. Why? Because everything is seen in the blockchain. You cannot issue shares or you cannot issue short sell contracts or extra contracts that are not allowed. Everything is visible there in a DeFi marketplace. So it eliminates that sort of manipulation. And do we have examples of manipulation in the current markets of crime being committed? Well, yes. Look at this. These are some examples of crime committed by enormous banks. Like, for example, JP Morgan got a fine because they have been manipulating the metals market, the silver and gold price, right? Because you don't want gold to go up and then the dollar loses value, do you? So there's manipulation in all these markets. And these news articles specifically mention gold and silver. But there's other markets as well that are being manipulated. And yet we think that it's a level playing field, and we think that we can invest in the stock market or in the markets in general, when there's other parties that have a lot of insider, not only information, but that they can pull their strings. And this is what happens in these non-transparent markets. Now, also, cryptocurrency replaces inefficient banks, right? So banks will no longer need to exist, because banking, you don't need a bank to store your crypto. You can just keep it in your own wallet. Not only that, all these transaction fees that the banks are keeping. So if you look at this graph right here, this shows Visa transactions, right? Everybody uses a debit card or a credit card, but every time you do a transaction, if you live in the United States, you're getting charged at least 3%, approximately 3% for every transaction. If you use American Express, it's more. If you use other cards, maybe a little bit less. So, and in Europe, it's more like, I think, 1.5% or 1.25% by law. And now this graph shows you how many billions, I believe this is in US dollars, 3,000 billion? Wow. That would be $3 trillion in transactions by Visa a year. No, I don't even know if this is by quarter. Wow, this is amazing. A huge amount. The number doesn't really matter. So what does this do? When you have crypto, well, you don't need Visa anymore. All transactions are done on the blockchain. So you would eliminate all these transaction fees. 3% of the world's amounts, right? If you're talking about 3,000 billion in transactions, 3 trillion in transactions, 3% of that would be, let's see how much that is. That's 3 billion. I don't even know. But you get the point. 3% of 3 trillion would be saved. This is money that will circulate through the economy. This is money that will be saved by mankind. It's just going to these companies that are just doing nothing of benefit for humanity, right? They have been doing something of beneficial so far, but they will not be needed anymore. This money will go into the economy once again to serve other useful purposes. And this is not taking into account the money multiplier. If you watched yesterday's video, we talked about the money multiplier. If you use the money multiplier at a 10% reserve ratio, this money is equivalent to, instead of 3%, 30%, 10 times more. That money is multiplied by 10. That's the effect that it would have on the economy. So 30% of the world's worth of transactions, that is, in debit and credit cards, would come back to humanity. Imagine all the beneficial effects that could have, right? Gives us back the power. And now, and remember, if you haven't subscribed, please like, subscribe, click the notification bell. Before you forget, click on that notification bell so you get alerted for the next video. Every day we're coming out with a new video. Now, that's not taking into account the banking system use of electricity. In this case, it's cost and any energy expenditure. So we wouldn't need all the electricity that banks use anymore. We wouldn't need, well, gold mining, look at how much electricity it spends or energy, and look at how much Bitcoin mining expense. Now, I'm not a promoter of Bitcoin. I'm more of a Cardano person, right? But even if you consider Bitcoin, look at how little energy Bitcoin uses compared to the banking system. So that's what we're going against, right? People are saying, "Oh, Bitcoin uses so much energy. It's horrible, bad for the ecosystem, for our environment." No, no. Compared to we are trying to replace the banking system, so it actually uses a lot less. Look at this other graph here. This is another one just specifically on energy consumption, and this is Bitcoin's energy consumption versus the estimated banking energy consumption. It's a little bit more of a conservative graph compared to the other one, but look at this. This is Facebook's consumption. And this is what our electric consumption will be if we're using Cardano. Here we have another, this one issued by Galaxy Digital and Forbes. That's a reputable publication, I would think. And we have the energy that is consumed by the banking system, followed by gold, and followed by Bitcoin. We can see that it's at least half of the banking system. But look at Cardano proof of stake. That's how much energy we'd be using, right? So try to stay away from those people that are talking to you about, energy, Bitcoin bad, crypto bad, crypto bad. You know, think about it. Do your own research. Well, guys, this is Crypto Origins. Like and subscribe. See ya.